Hey everyone, welcome back to a new malicious compliance video. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for subscribing to the channel and for leaving a like, it really helps. The first story is called Get in My Office in the Morning. This happened quite some time ago, but I can remember it like it was yesterday. I work in a technical field, with on-site visits to customer sites being the norm at the time. One customer had been waiting quite some time for service due to asbestos abatement in the building blocking access to the basement where I needed to work. The customer was government and the end user was an executive, so they insisted we do the work anyway. I was simply told to go to the site and do the work with no preamble. I reasonably believed that the asbestos abatement was completed and all was good to go. Well, when I got to the site, they told me that the area was still contaminated and I would need to comply with their protection protocols. Once I learned that these protocols included stripping off all of my clothes, showering, putting on an environmental containment suit, complete with an isolated air supply, I more than balked. I said heck no. I wasn't performing emergency work. I was adding a telephone line to a phone system for an executive that could wait as far as I was concerned. The next step was to inform my manager of the situation. To say my manager and I did not get along would be a severe understatement. Openly hostile on both sides would be closer to the truth. He simply couldn't fire me, or he would have, I have no doubt. I was simply too good at my job. I, on the other hand, did not have a lot of opportunities to move elsewhere, as the knowledge and job were very specific. Anyway, this went as expected for me. Hey, I can't do this job, as they are still removing asbestos. We know about the asbestos, but we made arrangements for access. You didn't tell me anything. I walked into this blind. There's no way this is important enough for all the hoops I need to jump through. Do the job or get in my office in the morning. I'm not doing it, so see you in the morning. I knew how the morning meeting would go. He'd have a letter for me to sign about refusing to work as a best case. Possibly worse, he might actually follow through on past threats and let me go. As luck would have it, this particular building was home of the Department of Labor for my region. I strolled down to the 5th floor to talk to Occupational Health and Safety. I explained the situation to them and they were very helpful. Not only did I have the right to refuse work under those conditions, I was obligated to refuse. Had I actually done the work and something went wrong, my company would have faced stiff fines and sanctions. They were very familiar with this specific scenario as they themselves were in the same building. They provided me with all of the relevant statutes in documented form, highlighted relevant sections and drafted a letter to my manager by name, advising him of his obligation to support my decision. I slept well that night. The next morning was interesting, to say the least. There was a lot of back and forth, but I did not reveal my ace in the hole as I wanted him to hang himself. He wanted me to sign several pieces of paper stating that I refused to do the work, that I put the company in a bad position, and that my employment with the company was subject to termination. I maliciously complied, took copies, and stored them away safely elsewhere. I then returned to his office and gave him the documents that were prepared the day before with the biggest grin I can ever remember having. He did not take it well, claimed I set him up, threatened me, the whole gamut. I told him I needed a written apology or I would take everything to corporate. He never came through on the apology and I never went to corporate, but he also never gave me grief after that. I basically took away his authority over me, and although it would be a stretch to say I enjoyed my remaining time at the company, at least it was less bad. The next story is called He Wouldn't Do His Job. This is probably the pettiest thing I have done, at least that I can remember. My friends and I came out of a KTV at like 2:30 in the morning and it was time for us to go home. I order an Uber, or Didi as it's called in Shanghai, and we get picked up for a ride surprisingly quick for that time of night. The driver is about 10 minutes away, but that's fine. However, I'm watching the dot on the screen and I notice that the car hasn't moved at all. After 20 minutes of waiting, I finally messaged the driver what's up. He asked me to cancel the ride cause he doesn't want to make the trip. It's close to his ending time, and if I cancel the trip, he still gets paid. Drivers also aren't really allowed to cancel trips anyway without good reason. I refuse. I tell him that he's the one who accepted the ride. He needs to pick us up and complete it. We go back and forth on this for a good 10 minutes, and I adamantly tell him I'm not canceling. Meanwhile, my friend has been trying to order another Didi, and there's no one in our vicinity to pick us up. The wait time for getting picked up is like 20 plus minutes, but we knew it could easily be longer. It's after 3 o'clock and we have now been waiting 30 minutes for this dude to pick us up. My friend hasn't gotten another ride either, and there's literally no cabs on site and hasn't been for the whole time we've been outside waiting. Finally, at about 3:15, a miracle of miracles. A cab comes by and picks us up and we head to our destination. Meanwhile, I'm watching the Diddy driver, who I still have on the hook. I finally see him start to drive towards us on the map, after 45 minutes of just sitting there and arguing with me about cancelling my ride. We make it to our own destination about 15 minutes later, just as he is pulling up to our original pickup location. It's only when I get the notification that he has arrived to pick me up that I comply with his request and cancel the ride. I sent him a message that we have found alternative transportation and thanks anyway. He still got paid, since I was the one who cancelled, but hopefully he learned to think twice about accepting rides that he doesn't want to drive. The third story is called You Think You Are a Manager? I work at the info system department of a large organization. Among our responsibilities, usually in between other tasks, we also provide support to help desk when they run into something they can solve by themselves. This happens often. They seem to not even try. Instead, they just flood us with issues that are absolutely within their tools to solve, if there are even issues at all. This was explained to them in great detail hundreds of times. To make it even more annoying, they also notoriously document them extremely poorly with next to no useful information. This, in turn, forces us to either drop everything we are doing to try to research the issue or try to contact the user and decipher what exactly are they even talking about. Or we have to return the issue to them with a note of unclear, more information required. Since they constantly flood us with nonsense and we don't have a whole lot of time on our hands, we start returning issues with copy-paste generic answers. Unclear, more information required, contact technicians, not an error, this is how it's supposed to work, and so on. I was doing just that when I received a call from the help desk on my personal phone. When I pick up, the speaker is Josh from help desk. He yells at me personally for repeatedly returning issues to him with a copy-pasted reply of unclear. Yes, I explain, we return copy-pasted messages of unclear because we receive many unclear issues. We don't have the time to personally explain to you what exactly you need to research. That is part of your job. Josh yells, first, everything I write is perfectly clear. I check, Josh repeatedly sends issues with zero useful information. And second, if you have problems with the help desk team, why don't you do something about it? I'm not managing either team. I work according to what I've been instructed by my team leader. Chris, the manager of help desk, is aware of the problem and to my knowledge is fine with the way it's handled. Listen up. If you have, as you say, a problem with how help desk writes issues, send me a list of names of the people who are problematic and I will handle it personally. Otherwise, the copy-paste replies need to stop. I check in HR. Chris is still listed as the manager of the help desk and we were not informed that he quit. Josh has been working there for something like a week, but he wants to be treated as the manager? Alright then. I construct a very nice email congratulating Josh on the new position as the help desk manager. And as per our discussion, I add a list of screenshots of the most ridiculously useless issues we received, without names attached, but many of which were written by Josh himself. And I CC my manager and Chris. Josh had been the picture of apologetic politeness since. The last story is called Be Careful What You Wish For, Kids. This happened earlier today at the grocery store. A mom was in line in front of me with her 2 young daughters, buying a random assortment of items including roughly a gallon of Neapolitan ice cream. Suddenly, one of the girls looks over at a display of candy bars and her eyes light up. She points to the display. Mommy, I want a chocolate bar. The mom looks over and shakes her head. No honey, we are already getting ice cream, you don't need a chocolate bar. The girl grabs one of the bars. But I want this so much more than I want ice cream. She waves the bar in front of her mom's face. She, the daughter, also pushes one into her sister's hands to get her on board. With both of her daughters now waving candy bars in front of her, she suddenly gets the look. So, you want candy bars instead of ice cream, is that it? The daughters are nodding and emphatically saying, Yes, we want the candy bars, not the ice cream. So the mom turns to the cashier and says, Can you please remove the ice cream? They don't want it. The cashier dutifully clears the ice cream from the order and puts the tub next to the register. She tells the mom her total and is handed the money. The mom starts bagging up her groceries, while the kids tear open their candy bars and start devouring their treats. Right as the mom finishes putting the bagged groceries in her cart for the trip out to the car, the kids finish their candy bars, look at the empty wrappers, and then at the tub of ice cream sitting next to the register. Realization dawns on their eyes. Hey mom, could we still get the ice cream after all? Mom has a smirk on her face. You said you didn't want the ice cream. You got the candy bars instead. The daughter, who started to push for candy bars, looks at the small, empty wrapper in her hands and back at the tub of ice cream. But this is so much smaller than that. Mom looks back at the ice cream tub and says, Oh my goodness, you're right. Seems like maybe you screwed yourself out of a lot of ice cream later in exchange for a bit of chocolate now. She sighs. Isn't that a shame? The daughter tries to turn on the frown. But Mom, can't you just go back and buy it? It's right there. She shakes her head. No, sweetie, I already paid for the groceries. It's the next gentleman's turn. Meaning me. The cashier had already started scanning my groceries. The daughters take one last look at the ice cream and their empty wrappers before turning and running away. Not too far. I think they just wanted not to see the ice cream anymore. As soon as they were off, I burst out laughing. Now that's a lesson. Way to go, Mom. She smiled back at me. Something tells me it's a lesson they won't soon forget. Because I'm in such a cheerful mood, I say, you want me to buy that ice cream so they can have it later? It'd be no trouble. She smiles wider and shakes her head. Nope, if I let you do that, they wouldn't learn their lesson, now would they? Moral of the story, be careful what you wish for, kids. You might just get it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. It really helps in the algorithm. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.